Slow support can cost you customers. You don't want them to think you forgot that they existed. So here's how to automatically escalate tickets before it's too late. When it comes to customer support, speed matters. So I'm going to show you how to set up automatic notifications when tickets become overdue or incoming volume is just too high for your team to handle. It's all about keeping your support efficient, responsive, and customer focused so that your team can maintain its reputation. All right, so jumping right in, we are going to start building out some of our parameters here. So of course, we are going to base these things off of our ticket and also making sure we are specific with our ticket pipeline that we are using, especially if you have different types of support pipelines for different reasons. Maybe you have an onboarding pipeline or different things like that. We want to make sure, of course, we have that specified for what tickets and which pipeline or which stages this is going to apply to. So today we're going to take a little deep dive into SLAs. So I'm going to go ahead and actually pop over for a second to our settings. So if you use Help Desk or the inbox, either way, if you haven't made the transition yet to Help Desk, you'll still have access to SLAs in the inbox settings as well if you're using that to automatically create tickets. So we can apply these SLAs so that we are keeping track of our team and how long it's taking them to perform, either their first reply. You can see here time for next reply, time to close, and then even some customization here on when something is like due soon. So, as it's coming close to this time, you can kind of get a due soon within like an hour, within a few minutes, just so that people get kind of an additional alert. So that's what we're going to be building out a little here today. And with these hours that you're designating for, these different categories, you do have the option for this to be just set for 24/7 if you do have, full 24/7 support on your team, or you can base this on time zone and working hours as well so that, people aren't penalized over the weekend or holiday or something like that. You would be able to adjust the time for specifics. So we're going to go ahead and pop back over into the workflow, but I just wanted to show you where these settings actually exist for you to be able to update those SLAs. So coming back to our tickets, again, we're using our support pipeline and we're going to focus in on tickets that are either overdue or maybe even close to overdue. So we can actually use that SLA properties here and you get a couple different options. So we're going to use our time to close. And it does give you some options for your statuses, right? So active SLA, meaning it's still within that time period. That due soon is going to come back to however much time you marked here for the due soon. So if it was time to close, this would happen basically at hour 39. And then you've got your overdue, so once it exceeds the allotted time period. So if you want to send alerts once something is actually already overdue, we'll just go ahead and select that time option. And then as usual, you can continue to refine if you have specific categories or subcategories of tickets for when you are, adding additional filters here. All right, and in this case, for ticket closing, we won't need to re-enroll, but we'll talk about re-enrollment for the kind of second part that I have prepared for us. So we'll go ahead and save and continue. So we are identifying that, hey, we've got tickets that are past their SLA time period. They're still open, even though we've exceeded, the 40 hours. So first thing we would do here is make sure we send that notification over to the ticket owner and, possibly if there is a determined, manager for this team, or you could actually do an entire team if you have a management team. So you can kind of customize from here, of course, based on your needs to make sure we have alerts going to the right people. But we for sure want to update the ticket owner and then whoever maybe that ticket owner reports to as well. So then from here, we'll go ahead and put in more details for that notification. So we can just say ticket close, SLA, overdue, right? Just want to make sure they have a good idea of what's going on and probably reference then that ticket name. And we're just going to copy and, kind of paste that here just to give them the same information in the body. And then let's give them some further direction here. So alert, ticket, oops. Ticket is overdue to close. And, please close out ticket or escalate to management to come up with a solution. So maybe you just need additional help getting this thing closed out. All right, and let's go ahead and save that. All right, so not only do we want to send a notification, we probably also want to make sure that we establish a task. So let's go ahead and get one of those created. And we're really going to kind of mention the same things here, that this is something of urgent matters. So we'll add an extra alert here. And of course, we want to make sure that's going to be due immediately. And again, adding some additional context here about kind of what their next steps are if they're not able to close that ticket out in a timely fashion. If you guys have knowledge-based articles that are helpful or anything else that might be a resource for them in helping getting that closed. And always, of course, be sure to assign that to the existing owner of the ticket, and probably for something like this, setting a high priority as well. Then last but not least, I would also go ahead and encourage you editing the actual ticket record itself. So we're going to go ahead and make some changes here and make sure that even on the ticket, we have added the extra step of putting a high or urgent level priority. So that way, if we were looking at something kind of more at a board view, we'd be able to call out like, wow, something is really going on with this ticket that we need to get addressed as soon as possible. So this would kind of be my recommended steps here, is making sure, of course, alerts go out to responsible parties, including management. We have a task here for the ticket owner to make sure they are really on it, and also adding that additional step here of putting in that priority to again, high or urgent or any other designation that you guys might be using out there. Maybe you have a fun code red or something like that. So I did prepare a secondary option here because, again, we talked about in this one time to close. So I did put in a second one here that is kind of the same base structure here, but basing that on time to first respond. Because sometimes it isn't always just trying to close out the ticket that's difficult. Sometimes it's get the high volume that's coming in. You don't even have time to respond to all of them. So in this case, maybe we just aren't able to keep up with that workload. So I put in place here a in-app notification, again, back to both the manager and the ticket owner to keep them aware that, hey, this first time to respond SLA is almost due. But then we're also going to take some action to see if we can rectify that situation immediately. So if you do have a team where tickets are being evenly distributed across the team and kind of rotated, then we would have an additional step here to go ahead and actually assign that ticket to someone else and see if maybe they're able to beat the clock and get that first response out. So having that ticket rotate within your existing team here. So I went ahead and put that onto our global support team to see if we can better evenly distribute the workload for someone else who maybe has gotten caught up with all their incoming tickets and can take on a new one. So that was just another example that came to mind that I wanted to prepare for you here as a good use case. And just like that, we've got another workflow down for you to really help make sure you've got an efficient team running when it comes to your service department. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't, so you don't miss out on future videos.